Political geography is a large part of human geography. It is one of great interest to many of the world's leaders and representatives. Controlling land means everything. This arrangement can make peace or can cause war. This is how it works in the grand scheme of things. Political organization is based off of territoriality. People and governments try to control pieces of land on the earth for political and social purposes. Leaders cannot simply rely on their social hierarchy, but they must gain the trust of the region in order to win. They must also abide by the rules set by that land in order to gain a majority. Different places will have different rules. This collection of political beliefs, practices, and values is what the government will be based on. Before territories were split by boundaries, neutral zones where no state had control or frontiers were the means of division. Countries agreed on a peaceful pact that the region would be left alone. Today, Antarctica is the only significant frontier left in the world. Now they are often divided by boundaries, whether they are physical, cultural, or geometric. Physical boundaries are ones that can be seen on the surface, like the Rio Grande River serves as the border of Texas and Mexico, or like the Alps separate France and Italy, or that line of trash that cleanly divides my room in half. Cultural boundaries are not tangible. They're usually the result of two cultures not finding a peaceful way to reside together. The conflicts between Hindus and Muslims resulted in boundaries forming between India and Pakistan, where each ethnicity was divided. Cultural boundaries are the most tense of all the boundaries because they're associated with emotions and beliefs. Geometric boundaries are straight lines that are placed due to some event that occurred. For example, when North and South Korea were divided during the Cold War, the 38th parallel was chosen as a separation point to show communist and US-controlled land. Boundaries divide regions into many shapes. Territorial morphology is a term describing shape, size, and relative locations of a given region. Compact states are ones with a small distance from the center to any part of the outer boundary. If a compact state has a projection at any point on it, it is known as a prorupted state. States like Chile, with a long, narrow body, are elongated states. When a state is divided into many segments, it is known as a fragmented state. Indonesia is the largest fragmented state in the world. A state that completely surrounds another is a perforated state. The land surrounded by a perforated state is said to be landlocked. This means it is completely surrounded by land. States also vary in sizes. Ones that have spaces of only a few square miles are known as microstates, while large areas are known as simply states. Size and shape of states lead to boundary disputes. There are 4 types. Positional disputes occur when there is no agreement as to where the border really is. The US and Mexico fought over the border until a treaty in 1848 settled it. Territorial disputes arise over ownership of a region. Areas like Texas that are shared between 2 places cause these disputes. Resource disputes form over use of natural resources. Countries fight over things like coal deposits and oil deposits. Functional disputes occur over policies regarding border areas. The USA and Mexico have been debating over the transport of people and goods over the border by Mexico. This causes countries to put stricter policies on immigration. A nation is a group of people bound together by common political identity. A nation-state is a state that extends coincidentally with a nation. Nationalism is pride towards being part of a nation. There are variations to nation-states. Multinational states contain more than one nation inside of them. Because of this, the state may split up based on beliefs. The former Soviet Union is an example of this. It had to divide into smaller states because of disputes. There are also groups of people without their own state. They are known as stateless nations. The Kurdish people are the largest stateless nation today. They are a large population of about 20 million people split up into 6 states. A state typically has many leaders. They are elected through the electoral process or the way a country selects its leaders. People may vote for the leader himself or vote for people that in turn select the leader. Electoral geography is the study of how spatial patterns affect political affairs. Parties try to give themselves an advantage in a particular district through the process of gerrymandering. This is the reconstruction of district boundaries in odd shapes to give a place majority. A more recent form of gerrymandering is known as minority-majority districting. This is the redrawing of districts so that a minority group is elected. Any form of gerrymandering continues to be an issue for political parties. Heading back to when places like Africa had no boundaries, colonies were formed by superpowers like the British. Colonies were later fixed and given boundaries to abide by that are still followed by many countries today. The European colonization of Africa is often noted to be imperialism. Imperialism is basically empire building. Boundaries and the basic culture set by Europe still remains in Africa today. A properly constructed state has a well-developed government structure. There are three types of governments. A unitary government is one that puts all the power in a central government. They command the entire country. Most of Europe is made of unitary states. A confederal government system splits the power almost entirely between subunits such as the states inside of it. Russia is a confederation due to its terrible central government. A federal government is a government like the United States. It splits the power evenly between subunits and the central government. We have a president that essentially has collective control, but we also have state governments that regulate each state. There are forces that unify or separate states. Centripetal forces unify states. They include country symbols, sports, languages, and more. Many people will come together to watch the Super Bowl every year or partake in patriotic day events like Memorial Day. Centrifugal forces are forces that separate countries. They de-establish values and morals. War and famine are examples of these forces. Centrifugal forces lead the way to de-evolution of a country. There's always been a quest for world domination. Sir Halford Mackinder proposed the Heartland Theory, which states that the Eurasian area holds the essential resources to rule the world. This theory gained a lot of support when the Soviet Union emerged as a superpower. The Heartland Theory was challenged by the Rimland Theory. Nicholas Spikeman was the one who proposed it. He said the area, including the oceans and outer parts of the world, was the key to domination. Whichever part really provides world domination will never be known unless the USA or Russia steps up their game.